All right, so I guess we're just gonna go right ahead and get started. It's exactly 4, just want to welcome everyone to our very first admitted financial aid information session for the spring semester. My name is Jody Ann Williams, and I'm a senior financial aid officer here at the New Brunswick campus. And I'm just here to go over just a few financial aid information, mainly in regards to the offer letter. I'm not sure if our audience are mainly parents or our admitted students. However, this presentation will basically go over what a student should expect on the financial aid offer letter. And basically, I would go over some important terms that students should become familiar with, well, I guess throughout their time being here at Rutgers. So anytime throughout the presentation, please feel free to submit your, if you have a general question, feel free to send your general questions in. At the end of the presentation, I will go ahead and answer, your questions as most as possible. If I'm not able to go over your question because of time, I will provide on the screen a way you can submit your inquiry to our office. And we have tons of staff that's working so hard behind the scenes to, assist our students as promptly as possible. All right. So once again, for those who are just coming in, my name is Jody Ann Williams, and I will be your presenter for today's session. All right, so we're just gonna go ahead and get started. Okay, so throughout the presentation, I will be taking my video off, so you may not see me, but I promise I'll be right back as soon as we're going over some questions, okay? All right. Okay, so what we will cover in this presentation, like I mentioned before, we will talk about some important terms that students should become familiar with and understanding the financial aid offer letter. So I will discuss the different sections that will be on a financial aid offer letter. And then I will talk about the next steps in terms of how a student can make changes to the financial aid offer letter. And then, of course, I will have a Q&A at the end of the presentation. All right, so some important terms that students should become familiar with. I think we're all familiar with the Fafsa, and this is a free application for federal student aid. Basically, this is a form that determines a student's eligibility for federal student aid, and that may include the federal Pell Grant and direct loans. Also, the New Jersey Alternative Financial Aid Application. Now, this is a form that students who are undocumented will complete or should complete if they are living in the state of New Jersey. So these are only for in-state students who are undocumented. And these students can apply to see if they will be eligible for state financial aid. Our priority filing deadline was December 1st of 2020. This deadline is not the final deadline for a student to complete the application. This is just a priority date where a student would automatically be considered for campus-based aids. So basically, if you want your student to be eligible for, the maximum amount of aid that is available, including campus-based aid, we have encouraged students to complete their FAFSA by December 1st of 2020. So hopefully everyone online today have already completed their FAFSA. Hopefully they've already completed it for December 1st. If not, you can still go ahead and complete the FAFSA, and I do encourage you to do so as soon as possible. All right. So some other important terms we should become familiar with is the expected family contribution, otherwise known as the EFC. Now, this number, most students or parents would probably see this number already. If you complete the FAFSA on the confirmation page, you will see it will tell you what your expected family contribution is. Now, this number is not an amount that a family will have to pay, nor is it an amount of federal student aid the student will receive. It's basically an index number that is used to determine the eligibility for financial aid grants. So it will let you know if the student is eligible for the federal Pell Grant. It will let you know if the student is eligible for the subsidized loan or unsubsidized loans. And I will also get into more details regarding the direct loans, the federal direct loans. So this number is calculated by the federal student aid, which is through your Fafsa. So as you complete your Fafsa, that's when this number is basically generated. And it is based on various factors like parents' income, family size, the number in college, assets, investments, and so on and so forth. So that's what is used by the federal student aid to generate that number. And then the next is the New Jersey Eligibility Index number. And same thing as the EFC, it is not an amount that your family will have to pay. I'm sorry, nor is it an amount of aid the student will receive, but it's a number that is used to determine the eligibility for state aid. So it will let the student know if that student is eligible for the New Jersey state aid, and it's calculated by the Higher Education Student Assistance Authority. Also, students should be familiar with financial need. This is the difference between the cost of attendance, which is established by Rutgers, and a student EFC or the NJEI. So basically, the cost of attendance is not the actual amount that a student will have to pay to attend Rutgers. It's an estimated number that is established by our institution. And as we go over the financial aid offer letter, I will show you how that cost of attendance is actually broken down. So what we do is basically subtract the EFC from the cost of attendance, and then that gives you the financial need for a student. And next term that we should all become familiar with is the financial aid package. And this is basically the amount of financial aid a student will receive. So as you see a financial aid award letter, basically all the financial aid awards that are listed on the award letter, that's the student's financial aid package. All right, so gift aid. So this is an award that a student does not need to pay back. It's not a repaid type of award. And so that may include need-based grants, scholarships, and outside scholarships. Now, the need-based grants are an award that is given to student, which is based on their financial need. So as we calculate a student's financial need, we will determine the type of grants a student would be eligible for. And so you also have scholarships, which is an award that is granted to students based on their academic achievement. So I know as new students, as they're admitted, their admissions application is considered for scholarships that may be available. However, sometimes these scholarships are quite limited in funding. So if a student is not eligible for these scholarships, or let's say there's no more funds, but if a student is achieving academically and they're doing pretty well, has a really good GPA, then the school that that student is enrolled in may have some other scholarships that will become available in the next academic year. So if a student does not receive it this academic year, they could be eligible for scholarships in the other academic year. And of course, this is based on the student making good academic achievement. And so we also have outside scholarships. Of course, these are scholarships that are funded by outside sources, sources outside of our financial aid office or outside of Rutgers University. And then we have loans. Now, of course, this is money that has to be paid back. So as a student borrow their loans, a student is awarded the direct loans. Of course, it will have to be repaid. And I will get into more details regarding the federal loans, and I will basically go over the two types of federal loans that will be available or may be available to students on their offer letter. Now, of course, interest, when a student is paying back their loans, they will have to pay back with interest included. And of course, the interest is the cost of borrowing that loan. And here we also have Earned Aid Award, which is the federal work study. Now, if a student is awarded federal work study, I would encourage all our students to take advantage of this opportunity. I think it's a great way to get that work experience while attending college. So the federal work study, these are part-time jobs. They can be on campus or off campus. And basically, it's a federal program which allows students to earn money for college expenses. Now, this fund will not be credited to a student on their term bill, but it's given to students, through their paycheck or direct deposit. So as a student work, they will be on a payroll and they will receive money, as they work. However, given the current pandemic situation, we're not so sure of what the work study program will look like for the 21-22 academic year. However, we do encourage students to still complete the federal work study application if the student sees a work study award on the award letter. We still encourage to complete the application because you never know what job may become available during the academic year. So, that is something to still try to apply for. So your financial aid offer letter. So this is a snapshot of how, just a screenshot of how your financial aid offer letter should look. If you haven't seen your financial aid offer letter as yet, we started sending out the offer letters in March. I believe it was like the second week in March, I believe, we started sending out the award letter. So if you haven't seen it, your award letters yet, this is what it should look like. You can access your financial offer letter at scarletthub.rutgers.edu/award. You will need your RUID number, so you'll be able to log in, or your net ID if you already have that set up. Okay, so this is what it looks like, and I'm basically going to go over each section on the financial aid offer letter. So in understanding the offer letter, there are various sections. We have the estimated direct cost, estimated indirect cost, grants and scholarship offered, federal work study, loans offered, then other options, the next steps, and then glossary. So the way this is listed is exactly how it showed up on your offer letter. So the direct cost is first, then indirect cost, then grants and scholarship, and then the list goes down. So the estimated direct costs, these are charges that are directly from Rutgers University. And of course, that will include the estimated tuition, fees, housing, and dining. The actual charges for tuition, this is usually determined in July by our Board of Trustees. So what a student may see on the award letter now, this is just an estimate. So it will not be the actual charges until July. It would transfer over into the actual charges. So we're not sure if it's going to go up or remain the same. We're not exactly sure as yet. However, once that is finalized, it will be updated on the financial aid offer letter. So at the top, you see direct cost. And again, I mentioned these are estimated costs, all right? And of course, this is also based on a student housing status. So you will see a different tuition and fees based, different housing based on your housing status. If you're on campus, off campus, or if you're living with parents at home. Okay, and the way you can also see your actual term bill, which will not be available until sometime in August. Um, you have the website is studentabc.rutgers.edu. And this is a good way that you can also take a look at your actual tuition and fees and to know what you will have to pay. But this will not be available until, maybe August. I believe it's like first or second week in August. You will see that become available. Next, on the offer letter, we have the indirect costs. And these are costs that will not appear on the term bill because they're not charged directly from the school. So it could, these are like your books, supplies, travel, parking pass, loan fees, and miscellaneous costs. Um, for the loan fees, this is not something that you will have to pay separately out of pocket. If you are awarded the federal loans and whatever you see on your award letter, your loan amount is going to be just slightly different on your term bill. And that is because your loan fees will be automatically taken out of your actual loans. So you may see, for instance, you may see like $1,000 of unsubsidized loan on your award letter, but on your term bill, you may see $990 on your term bill. And that's because the $10, your loan fee was actually subtracted from your direct loans, right? So once again, these figures are only estimates and they're only used for budgeting purpose only. So these are not this is not a student actual cost to attend Rutgers. Okay, so the next section on the award letter will be the grants and scholarships that is offered to the student. And of course, this can include the Scarlet Promise Grant, the federal Pell Grant, and the estimated tuition aid grant. Now, for the estimated tuition aid grant, we put estimate here because this number is only based on what the student put on their FAFSA and their New Jersey application. However, the state of New Jersey, they have their way of calculating a student's eligibility for tuition aid grant. And so if the student was selected with the state of New Jersey and they make their final decision and they finalize the tag, if that final award amount is different from what we put on the award letter, then this amount may be reduced or it may increase. And that is why we have estimated tuition aid grant, because this grant is just based on what you initially have on your state application and what Rutgers will determine that you may be eligible for. However, the state of New Jersey, they make that final decision, in regards to a student's eligibility for the tag grant. So just bear that part in mind. And so here at the bottom, you have the net cost. So the net cost is basically when we subtract the grants and scholarships offered from the cost of attendance. So at the top, we'll have the cost of attendance. We subtract the grants and scholarship offered, and then at the bottom, you will see the net cost. So this is the amount of budget that is not covered by scholarships and grants. Also, I just want to point this out, that the number that you will see here initially, this is for the entire academic year. So on the award letter to the right side, it's not shown on the screen, but to your right, you will be able to break down the amount of awards that you will receive for each semester. However, right now, what is on the screen, this is an award for the year. So this is not an award for each semester. This is an annual award that we're looking at. Okay, so different types of grants and scholarships. We have the federal Pell Grant. Of course, it's determined by completing the FAFSA, and also the federal Supplemental Educational Opportunity Grant. That's a long name for a grant, but this is the FSEOG grant, where a student could be eligible for at least up to $4,000. This grant also is a quite limited grant, and mainly students who completed their FAFSA by the priority deadline, would be eligible for this grant. Of course, given that they're eligible based on other factors. The other grant would be the state grant, which is, of course, the New Jersey tag that we mentioned before, the Educational Opportunity Fund, which is EOF. And this is like another program that a student could apply to be a part of. I believe the EOF office, they also send out, they have their recruiting process, and, they will normally notify students, so they would apply to be a part of the EOF program. And you also have the New Jersey Student Tuition Assistant Reward Scholarships too, which is known as the NJ STARS 2. Now, this award, this type of scholarship, it's mainly given to students who are transferring from a New Jersey county college. So these are students who mainly, when they graduated from high school, they graduated in the top 15% of their class, and they attended their county college. And as they attended their county college, they received a New Jersey STARS. And as they transfer to Rutgers, the New Jersey STARS 2 program will come into play. So this is mainly for those transfer students. And then we also have the Governor's Urban Scholarship, which is also another scholarship that is determined by the state of New Jersey, or HESA. So we also have an institution scholarship, which is the Scarlet Promise Grant. Now, this is an institutional grant, I'm sorry, not scholarship, but it's an institutional grant where a student could be qualified for up to $6,000 for the academic year. And of course, these students would have to complete the FAFSA by the December 1st deadline. So mainly these students would be automatically considered for this grant if they submit their FAFSA by that priority deadline. And the next, we also have the Merit Scholarship. As I mentioned before, that these scholarships are awarded by the school that a student is enrolled in. And of course, each scholarship, they have their own amount and eligibility requirements for that particular merit scholarship. Okay, and so of course we have the federal work study. As I mentioned before, this is a need-based program, and to be eligible for this program, the student's EFC would have to be less than 10,000. And like I mentioned before, if you apply for, if you are awarded the federal work study, we do encourage you to apply early for this program, should in case a position becomes available and we have maybe a department, whether on campus or somewhere off campus, they're hiring during the 21-22 academic year, a student could be quickly considered for that position. And again, we mentioned that this fund will not be posted on the term bill, but it will be paid directly to the student by paycheck or through a direct deposit if a student is able to apply for direct deposit. And if you can see the arrow at the bottom, it's showing how the federal work study will be awarded. The maximum the student will receive is like $2,000 for the year. That is the initial award amount, $2,000 for the year. And the link for the work study application is posted directly underneath it. So you will see that link that says complete your federal work study application. So it's pretty straightforward when you see it. Okay, so the other section of the award letter, we go down to the loans. And so you will see automatically a student is packaged the federal subsidized and unsubsidized loans. These are automatic loans that the students are packaged. It does not mean that the student have to take these loans. And of course, I will get into further detail on how a student could either reduce or cancel their loans. However, based on information received from the FAFSA and based on the student's eligibility that is for aid that is determined, we automatically package the federal direct loans. So if a student is eligible for a subsidized loan, we automatically put that there. If not, we put all unsubsidized loans. Okay, and then towards the bottom of the award letter, we'll have other options. Of course, these are other options, financing options for students. If you don't receive like a scholarship, you're not eligible for any form of grants, and you're only receiving loans. These are other options that parents and students can look into. We have the Parent Plus loan, the private loans, and other outside scholarships that students can also look into applying for. Okay. All right. So this is, of course, more details in regards to the loans. So we have the subsidized loans. Now, the subsidized loans are need-based loans. So these loans are based on the financial need that is calculated for the student. However, the good thing about this loan is there's no interest that is accruing on this loan while the student is attending the institution. Well, or I should say, while the student is enrolled at least half time in the institution. So this is pretty good for this loan, where the interest only starts accruing 6 months after the student graduates, or 6 months after the student drops below halftime. So I always say this is the best loan for students. The federal unsubsidized loan, it is not based on the financial need. So basically all students are automatically eligible for this loan. However, the interest does start accruing on this loan right away. Not right away as a student is packaged, but right away as soon as this loan gets dispersed and it's applied to the term bill, it starts accruing interest right away. Currently, the fixed rate for both of these loans is 2.75% for the 2021 academic year. However, the rates can be adjusted because they're normally adjusted annually in July of each year. And of course, this is determined by our federal government. And as they make that decision, then these rates will be adjusted accordingly. Then these loans also have the loan origination fee. As I mentioned before, where the loan fees will be deducted out of the gross loan that will be on the offer letter. This is the origination fee that is subtracted out of that loan. So currently, the rate is 1.057% for the origination fee. The good thing about both of these loans is that no payment is required for these loans until 6 months after the student leave our school, or 6 months after they drop below halftime. However, parents and students do have that option to make payments on these loans while the student is still in school. But if that is optional, and if that is something a parent feels better doing, they would have to reach out to the loan servicer, because the loan servicers, they only reach out to students when they realize the student dropped below halftime or the student graduated. So that's the only time the loan servicer will reach out to the student. But if you want to make a payment prior to graduating, then you would have to reach out to the loan servicer, and you could they will give you instructions on how you can go ahead and make early payments on the loans. And of course, we have the next steps. Now, this is a way where students can make adjustments. With this data change form, I would say basically any update that is made on this form can make adjustments can adjust the financial aid offer letter. So whatever changes a student make on this form, it could definitely affect the financial aid award. So here the student can update your enrollment if you're no longer full-time. Um, right where you see enrollment status, if you will not be full-time, instead of being 12 credits, you'll have between 9 and 11.5 credits. You click on that, and that will make you like a 3/4 time student. That can definitely affect your financial aid as you change your enrollment. So bear that in mind, that whatever changes that you make here, you may receive an updated financial offer letter after after these changes are updated. So here you can, like I mentioned, update your enrollment. You can update your housing information. You can decline your work study. You can reduce or decline your federal loans. So if you look at the bottom, it shows, the housing status that you would like to change. And we also have here that any housing changes may change your eligibility for grants and loans. Okay, so that's just something to bear in mind. So with the data change form, here is showing you how you can make changes. With the federal work study, you can decline for fall only, spring semester only, or for both fall and spring. So it's pretty straightforward. It's a lot of information. I would suggest reading all of this information before you go ahead and make changes to your information that is posted on your financial offer letter. And then here is showing you the data change form for the federal loans. So here you can decline fall only, you can decline spring only, or you can decline for both fall and spring by clicking on decline all loans. Now, let's say a student declined loans and they changed their mind and they want to get their loan reinstated. Yes, you can get your loans reinstated. So for whatever reason, if you say initially, oh no, I don't think I want anything for the fall semester, and as you're going on in your semester, you're like, oh no, well, I have a financial situation. I need my loans back to assist me with some other expenses. Then a student can submit that inquiry to our office by an email, requesting for that loan to be reinstated. And we normally require the student to let us know exactly the amount that they want to reinstate. And that is because the data change form, it doesn't allow you to reinstate on your own online. You can only use it to reduce or decline your loan. So if a student changed their mind for whatever reason and they want to reinstate the loans, you can submit like an email, send an email to us, and then we will go ahead and process that change for you. All right. And so as I was mentioning before, the other options include the Parent Plus loan. So this is just some information regarding the Parent Plus loan. Now, this is a federal loan. However, it is borrowed by the parent. So the parent is basically responsible for the repayment of this loan. And they can apply for this loan at studentaid.gov. However, the parent will have to sign a master promissory note, which basically is a parent promising that they will be paying back the loan. And the parent must be a credit-worthy parent. So you must have good credit. If the parent does not have good credit, they can have like a credit-worthy co-signer. So they can always get someone else to endorse the loan who has, good credit history. However, if for some reason the parent is denied the Parent Plus loan, then the student can be eligible for $4,000 to $5,000 in federal unsubsidized loans. So we do award additional unsubsidized loans to students whose parents are not eligible for the Parent Plus loan. But we want to see, at least proof of that, like the parent applied for it and we see that it's denied. Currently, the Parent Plus loan has a fixed interest rate of 5.30% for the 2021, and there's an origination fee of 4.228%. So this is just for the 2021 academic year, and this is not yet set for the 21-22 year. And we should know that sometime in July. And then the other option are, is private loans. These loans are typically in the student's name, and they typically need a co-signer. That is because maybe most of our students are just graduating from high school. So we're not expecting them to have, they may not have credit or may not have the income to be qualified for a private loan. So it's a safe way for parents if that's the case. They could just be a co-signer, but the loan will be in the student's name. So you have some parents, who don't want that full responsibility of the loan really in their name, but they will co-sign. So that's an option. The private loans is definitely an option for students. And we have the link here for the private loans, which is financialaid.rutgers.edu. So as you go here, you will be able to see like the list of the various private lenders that we work with, and you can basically compare the loans. You can compare their interest rate and their requirements for their loans. However, we do encourage when you're doing the private loans to review the loan periods and make sure you select the correct rate range for your loan. This is because private loans, they have different term periods. So you may have a period for fall only period, and they have different date range for it. So you will have from September to December, that will be fall only. Then you will have from January through May, which is spring only. Then you will have the entire academic year, which would be from September through May of 2022. So that will be considered an academic year loan. If you apply for that loan for the academic year, once we receive it, we automatically split the loan in half. So on the award letter, you will see half of that loan for fall and the other half for spring. So just make sure you review the term periods if that is something you're looking into. All right, so question, what if I did not receive an offer letter? So if you did not receive a financial aid offer letter, a few things that we suggest that you do. First thing, try to log into your Fafsa just to make sure you completed the 21-22 Fafsa. Currently, we have two Fafsa that are available online. It's the 2021 and the 21-22 Fafsa. So sometimes a student can make that mistake and complete the 2021. So we suggest the first thing is double check to make sure you complete the 21-22 Fafsa and make sure Rutgers is added to your list of schools on the Fafsa. So that's the first thing. Second, the student could determine if we need any follow-up documentations. Your student could go to scarletthub.rutgers.edu/docs and, just to see if there's any form of documentation that we might need that can hold up your financial aid package. All right. So if we are requiring certain documents, if we're requiring any document, that will have to be sent to either our office or through our verification partner, which is Inceptia. So Rutgers basically partnered with an outside verification company, which is called Inceptia. And this is a company that if a student is selected for a process called verification, that student will receive an email. Both student and parent will receive an email from Inceptia, and Inceptia will let the parent and student know that they will need to create an account and it will also give them instruction on how to upload the required documents. So these sensitive documents like tax returns, W-2s, they can securely be submitted electronically to Inceptia. And this is through the verification gateway. So the email that Inceptia will send out to these parents and students, it will provide all the information on how they can create their account and how they can upload their documents. All right. So more information regarding Inceptia that can be found on our Scarlet Hub website. And I will give you that website. I believe it's the next slide, if I'm not mistaken. But I will provide that information on, how you can get more information regarding Inceptia. Okay. All right. And here we are. We're at the end of the presentation. As I mentioned before, information regarding Inceptia, or even if you have other questions that may not be answered on this platform, you can go to scarlethub.rutgers.edu. It's a pretty user-friendly website. I would say it's quite straightforward. So if you go here, then you will be able to access more information regarding Inceptia, how that works, and also you'll be able to submit your inquiry to our office. All right. And so we are open Monday through Friday from 8:30 to 5. Currently, we're working virtually. However, we are so looking forward to going back at least at some point during the academic year. And just the quick information regarding our financial aid office, we are actually moving this summer to a new location in Bush campus. So we do have some construction going on, and we are so excited that we will be moving to our new location. So we do hope to at least see some, if not all of you, at some point in our new office. It will be really exciting to, at least put some faces behind these names and numbers that I see in our webinar. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna take, okay, so, all right, I'm just gonna go over the question. I have one question is, someone wants to know the difference between subsidized and unsubsidized loan. Yeah, so the difference between the subsidized and unsubsidized loan is basically subsidized loans are need-based loans, which does not accrue interest until 6 months after a student graduate or 6 months after they fall below half-time. And then the unsubsidized loans, these are loans, it's not a need-based loan. So typically all students are eligible for unsubsidized loans, but these loans start accruing interest the moment the loan is applied to the term bill. It starts accruing interest on that loan. All right, so that's the difference between both loans. All right, so question here, if it's scholarship or grant. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I did promise that I will come back, right? I'm back. I promised that I would come back on video. All right, so the other question is, if a scholarship or grant does not specify that it will be renewed each year, or it's an amount that will be divided into 4 years, can it be assumed that the grant or scholarship is only going to be awarded to you for the first year of college? Yes. So I would say if it's not specified, if this is a scholarship that was given through admissions, normally when you get that admissions package, I believe they do specify if the scholarship is renewable in that package that you will receive. However, if it's not specified and they didn't say that it's renewable, then yes, I would say just assume it's only for the academic year. If it is renewable, then our office, once we see that you're meeting all the criteria, then we automatically renew it. So you're still not losing out if you're not sure. So if it didn't specify, I would say, yes, just go ahead and think, okay, this is only for the first year of college. All right. But if it's renewable, then it will automatically renew in the next academic year. I hope I answered that good enough for you. All right. All right, so before we go, does anyone have any other question that they would like me to answer for them? All right, you're most welcome. All right, guys, so just a reminder that we will be doing these information sessions throughout the throughout the spring semester. So currently we do have some scheduled information sessions up until the end of April for now. We may extend it beyond April, but for right now we have them scheduled up until April. So if you have a friend that was, recently admitted and wasn't able to make it to this session, feel free to give them that information, let them know that we will be here until the end of April. So we'll have this session every Wednesday at 4, right? So every Wednesday at 4 up until the end of April. All right. So if we have no other questions, I will go ahead and I will end this webinar. So thank you all for staying on with me, and thank you all for listening. And I hope you all, stay safe in this rainy weather. And I hope you're all enjoying the rest of your evening. All right. Thank you all again for joining us, and have a good night.